Good morning, by the way. Hello, hello. Nito, are you doing a preview this time around? Morning. Oh, you're doing a list above. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. All right, what are you guys talking about? Morning. Woken from a slumber, finishing it soon. Here to steal my things. I can tell you right now. That's my top 10 has been horrible for the past year. I think the last team I got right was the Delicious Nuggets, and they won what, June of last year or May of last year? It's been pretty bad. I don't know. I mean, at this point, my top 10 is just the teams I think are worthy of being the 10 favorites, even though I know none of them are going to do well. Just because that's just how tournaments have been working this year. What's up, Spoon? I had a spoon up here earlier. I was eating some yogurt. I don't have a spoon right now. Roundy. What is the next okay, Roundy, where does I don't even know the how to pronounce the yogurt that I use, the Greek one, the iOS or whatever. Where does that rank up? Yes, that one. Where does that rank on your tier list? I get that one, 0 calorie thing, mix in some granola, some yogurt. Or yogurt, mix in strawberries and granola. Ugh. Yoplait was good as a kid. I used to eat a lot of Go-Gurts as a kid. Do Go-Gurt's probably still a thing, right? Like the yogurt in a tube. You freeze those things. Yogurt is mid. Well, those of us who don't like milk kind of need some other way to get some calcium. Yogurt's pretty good. If you mix yogurt with some things, it's pretty good. Cotton candy Go-Gurt. No. Let's not get crazy with the yogurt flavors. You just get plain vanilla and you use it to mix in other things. Granola and fruit. Yogurt is just a catalyst for other things to come. Yes, Falco, you did. You missed a lot of... interesting is a word to describe it, probably. I don't know. Cherry, no. What about cosmic cherries? Oh, you think you're funny? Think you're a funny guy? Think you're a big funny man, huh? Crush that Peloton, Falco. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are listing competitive players from A to Z, petitioning Duck Gang's parents to allow them to go to PAX, begging your teammates to get home from work early so they can enter their splash tags on time. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. I understand as I'm just looking at the people that are in chat. A lot of you I typically don't see in the Low Ink preview section, so I kind of understand why you're here. Earlier today, Stratagem from Squid School did a video over this topic that I'm about to start here on SOS 112. And this is, I didn't sound check this, but here's one of the things that Jim said at the very beginning of this video. Take a listen.
Any more tweets about it. As far as I'm concerned, once Popgun talks about it on the Popcast, that's case closed, and nobody else is actually going to share a better opinion about this than he will.
That's some high praise there, Stratagem. I appreciate that. I hate to let you down, though. This is something that I wrote out on the tiniest sheet of paper, this topic that I did. I wrote it out yesterday. So don't expect earth-shattering takes that I'm going to be giving here. That's the point. Look, man, with Squid School and Prochara, and obviously I'm a big fan of what Gus does, Gus Platoon as well. When you do things that are on YouTube, you get to talk things out, you get to edit things, you get to, oh, I didn't like how I pronounced that. Let me just go back and re-record how I did that. You get time to like make the content exactly how you want it. When you're a person like me who does everything live, this is what you get. I just got to pull most of this stuff out of my ass and hope that it works out in the end. So hopefully what I'm trying to say works out, because I only get one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, unless it doesn't. What a great opportunity to talk about the bull crap that went on this past week. News of other tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. Believe it or not, there is a arguably bigger tournament going on this weekend than Low Ink. Splatomax is going on this Saturday. It is a invitational one-day major double elimination tournament. I guess whatever your definition of major is. It's got all the teams you actually want to watch playing in it. It's going to take place on Saturday. And I'm going to be commentating grand finals alongside Dura. And by grand finals, I mean Jackpot versus Alliance Rogue, which whether one of those two teams wins, it should be a toss-up, should be a great set between those two teams. So let's not kid ourselves. Those are the two teams that are going to make grand finals, right? Of course, now that I just said that, somebody's going to crash the party. But if you want to watch something other than Low Ink, check that out on Saturday, but we'll see you guys again on Sunday for the epic conclusion of grand finals of Low Ink, the tournament you guys actually care about. Today, speaking of Low Ink, we're actually going to be... is Flippa playing? Honestly, I haven't looked at it yet. I've been too busy doing with Low Ink stuff that I haven't done prep work for the potential major that I'm maybe commentating tomorrow. Today we are going to be previewing Low Ink. I'm going to be giving you guys my top 10 teams, as well as 5 other teams I think you should be paying attention to this upcoming weekend. Keep in mind, if you want to play in Low Ink, registration is still open. If you're watching this live, you got about an hour and 56 minutes to sign up and get your splash tags entered. If you're watching this on YouTube, by the time this is already uploaded, well, you're out of luck. Registration's likely closed at this point. And you're probably watching this video before it's fully uploaded and you can watch this in full 1080p 60 frames per second. So you're probably watching a very pixelated version of me. Sorry. Once again, this is the live show we're doing here, guys. We're just hoping this one take works out. Take it easy. Let's see how this goes. All that and more. But first, full disclaimer, before we get into anything related to the SOS number 112 that took place on Wednesday. Yes, I am a part of IPL. I'm a head TO for Low Ink. I'm a head TO for Proving Grounds. I am also not the head of IPL. That would be Hoenn Hero. But I am a part of the leadership group that we have to some extent. I'd like to say I'm on the board of directors and Hoenn Hero is the CEO. There's several of us that are on that same kind of level. But it's important to get out in front of that and say that from the very beginning. So that you know where I'm coming from this. I can sit here and tell you guys that I don't have a bias in what goes on in SOS because I don't touch SOS. I never get involved in other people's tournaments because I don't like it when people get involved in my tournaments. However, I can't sit here and say with all this IPL swag that I have, except for a hat, I still got a little Squid League hat before I got an IPL hat. Come on, Hoenn. What is up with that? I can't sit here and say I don't have any bias at all because that would be inhuman of me. I literally was looking at Twitter, seeing what was going on with SOS. I did not sleep at all Wednesday night. I was so angry and so pissed off at what I was seeing. I just want to make that clear so that you guys know where my perspective of things is coming from. The situation, to give you guys as much context as I can, and I've talked to the actual TOs for the event. I've looked in on the conversations they had, and I'm not leaking things, but this is the context of everything. And I've also had somebody who subbed for Acropora DM me some additional information later today. A month ago, I don't remember what number SOS it was, but a team full of plus server level players signed up for this tournament. They used different names, and it just so happens that they got curb stomped in the group stage. They got swept by everybody in the group stage as plus server level players. Well, that's kind of weird. They must have had a really off night. Except when they got to the lantern bracket, which if you win lantern bracket, you get a Sindao badge. They crushed everybody on the lantern side. What a great story that is. These not top level, but these highly skill level players falling apart in the group stage, but finding a way to turn it on and rally back and win lantern bracket and get a Sindao badge. Very inspirational story. That's one way to look at it. The another way to look at it is a team intentionally threw and kind of hid their aliases a little bit so that they could get a Sindao badge and add to their collection. That rightfully pissed off a lot of TOs in the IPL server that something like that happened. I'm not going to comment on the potential consequences that came about from that situation. That's not what the point is. But there's some context behind the scenes as to why all of a sudden the week after you saw this big tweet or this big ping in the SOS announcement channel that said, you guys can no longer use aliases. You have to use the names that you're known with. And if you do use an alias at any point, you'll be automatically disqualified. No warnings whatsoever. That is why the alias rule. Now, you can judge, is that a gross overreaction to that kind of thing? Would it be better just to eliminate the badges for the lower brackets altogether? That's not the point. The point is I'm just providing context as to why that rule was put in place in SOS when typically you don't really see an alias rule in other open invite tournaments. Last night, if this was in the past, 2 days ago, a team called ! Was playing Acropora in the group stage. A player for the pickup team name that you can't even pronounce what their name is. That just adds to the, man, you really don't care about your brand if you're using aliases to change your name, but your team name also is unreadable, but whatever. Let's get back on topic here. A player for the pickup team, Nitro, used an alias to change how, hide their identity or to potentially cheat into the tournament. No, they did not. They used an alias Now, there's some debate going on. Initially, it said they just used the alias just to add a star to their name. But I'm hearing some conflicting information that there might be some other characters added to that. Who cares? The point is, Nitro used an alias, not with the intent of cheating, and they were streaming at the same time, so anyone could tell that this is who this person actually was. After losing to this team, Acropora alerted the TOs of the situation, and the TOs stepped in, realizing, hey, you guys are using an alias. We have this rule here that says you can't use an alias at all. You are automatically being disqualified because of it. Sorry, get out. Paraphrasing here, but essentially that's what's going on. A few facts that I do want to clarify here. Some misinformation a lot of misinformation has been spread about this. And in the grand scheme of things, this whole situation really isn't that big of a deal. But because it's been talked at length to this point, there's a few key details I think everyone should be aware of. First off, it wasn't Acropora that went into the stream and saw that Nitro was using an alias. It was a SOS TO. I'm not going to name who, but I can confirm that it was a TO that went into the stream to see the alias, not Acropora. Secondly, Acropora did not win the set. They still got the 0-3L. Anybody who looks on the Battlefy chat can still see that. Yes, Acropora got bumped up to Hammerhead bracket, but that is just because technically the team above them, this team in question, got Dairy Queened. And because of that, everybody in the bracket got bumped up. And if you want to be really technical about it, the team that didn't really benefit from that team being disqualified, it wasn't Acropora, it was the Sassy Spikers. If you look at that group, Sassy Spikers was originally scheduled to make Hammerhead, and then they got bumped up into that other team spot, and now they're in Great White. And to their credit, they won round 1 of Great White and went on it and got like top 8 over the entire events. Sassy Spikers is over here like, don't look at us. I mean, that they absolutely benefited from that a little bit more. So there's a little bit more context behind why the rule was originally created, what happened in the situation, and what's the actual facts of the situation. You know what this reminds me of? I bet some of you chat and remember this. The phrase, the Splatfest tea heard round the world. Now, some of you who've been listening to the podcast for a very long time, which I know you have, do you guys remember episode number 62 of the Popcast? Literally almost 2 years ago. That was on the beginning of July of 2021 when we covered that episode. The Splatfest tea heard round the world. To give you a little bit of a refresher, a team called Arctic Moon played a team called Pure Divinity in a Nintendo tournament. One of the rules in the Nintendo tournament was that you couldn't use a Splatfest tea. Why? Because Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing with their tournaments. It's nothing new. Remember, using ability doubler, unless you put a different sub in every single slot, you are mathematically throwing by using ability doubler. It doesn't give you a competitive advantage by using the Splatfest tea. And at that point in the game, they had already released Splatfest teas replicas for everybody that had got the game to have. So everyone had access to it. Why it would be a rule is so stupid, but that's on brand for what our overlords at Nintendo like to do with their tournaments. Arctic Moon used a Splatfest tea. Pure Divinity lost to Arctic Moon, realized that they could get a win by reporting them for using the Splatfest tea, and then caused some confusion because they didn't switch off the Splatfest tea before Game 2. Technically played Game 2 with the Splatfest tea. Pure Divinity gets a 2-0 win over Arctic Moon. And if you want to hear my thoughts, episode 62, it's literally kind of a copy and paste situation, what I'm going to say about this situation with what I said back then about the Arctic Moon Pure Divinity thing. Arctic Moon violated an actual rule. As dumb as the rule was, it was an actual rule that they violated. Pure Divinity violated no actual rules. However, They violated an unwritten rule that we have in this community, an unwritten rule that a lot of sporting communities, esports, ball sports, whatever have, which is don't snitch on your opponent if it comes to something that doesn't actually affect the actual game. Both teams kind of in the wrong for different reasons. I said at the time that Arctic Moon was the main person to blame there. Now, I'm not going to blame anybody because this isn't a blaming situation, but if you want to be more upset at one team over the other, I was upset at Arctic Moon because they could have read the rules. They could have known that you can't wear a Splatfest tee. Was it kind of, I wouldn't be very careful with my words here. Again, this is live. Can't edit this stuff. I didn't like that Pure Divinity called them out and took the wins for them using the Splatfest tee. But if you are Arctic Moon and you don't want another team to rulebook you, don't give them an excuse to. And of course, the TOs were a part of that situation as well. And not the TOs that actually run the help desk. I'm talking about whoever the morons are behind the scenes that actually write the rules for those tournaments that don't actually run the help desk stuff. Obviously, he played a role in that as well for having a dumb rule. Take that exact situation, copy and paste it to this one. Nitro clearly broke an actual rule in the tournament. Now, the letter of the rule says you can't use an alias under any situation, and you're going to be automatically disqualified if you do. The purpose behind the rule might not meet the intent that Nitro is going for. Obviously, Nitro was just, well, let me just add this. Honestly, I don't even know why Nitro is doing it. But anybody who could just see the stream could ultimately realize that this is a situation where the tournament is just running through. This isn't affecting the outcome of the game. This person is who they say they are. They're just, alias is just kind of screwed up with that kind of thing. Still, Nitro broke the actual rule. Acropora broke the unwritten rule here, which is snitching on your opponent for something that didn't actually affect the final outcome of the game. Now, rule booking your opponent. I want to be very clear with this. I don't want anybody to be confused about my stance on rule booking your opponent. Because if you've ever played against my team, especially back in 21, oh my gosh, I rule booked the devil out of a lot of you. If there was a rule that benefited my team over you, I used it. 100% of the time I used it. If it was something that actually affected the game itself. If there was a rule that said the higher seed could host and my team was higher seeded than you, I flexed that on every single one of you. And I got into arguments with you guys and I wouldn't let it go because I trust my LAN connection more than whatever it is that you guys are doing. There's several other rules that affect the actual game. I would rule book you guys. And there's plenty of you that played against me that can attest to that. I'm not sorry about that. In skill cap tournaments, you always want to check the opponent's name. You want to make sure that who joins the lobby is who actually joins, is actually on the opponent's roster. You want to do that in any tournament that's skill capped. That's a no-brainer. In open invite tournaments, and I used to play in those early SOS back when it was like a single-digit numbered tournament, I would always ask our opponent, if somebody joined the lobby and it wasn't on the roster, I would always ask, who is that? I wasn't doing it so that I could snitch on them or go to the TOs about them because Lord knows the TOs are dealing with a whole heck of a lot of other stuff. They don't need to really care about something that's not a big deal. But I would always ask, and I would never do it to complain. I did it just because I wanted to know who I was going up against. If you guys played against my team in 21 and you saw Popgun join your lobby, you automatically knew you were going to be fighting a Hydra. 90% of the time I was using a Hydra. I was pretty upfront about it. I was a Hydra one trick, unless I wanted to use remix in certain situations. Mainly tower control main stage, heavy rocked on that map. It's so annoying from a competitive standpoint. If I don't know who I'm fighting against, if I see Fart Knocker join the lobby and I don't know who that is, I want to ask. I want to be like, hey, who is that? And once I know who that is, then it's like, oh, okay, now I know what kind of weapon I'm going to be going up against. I don't have to waste game one trying to figure out who my opponent is. Now I actually know. But I would rulebook you guys 100%. And I would argue that if you're a captain of a team, you should be rulebooking your opponents. Unless it is something that doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of the actual game. I don't agree with Acropora reporting this specific example to the TOs. I don't. And I know the TO specifically said, hey, report this if you see that. I understand that. That's what the rule says. The unwritten rule of our community, though, is just let that slide. And I can understand 100% why people would be rubbed the wrong way when you consistently take that kind of approach in tournaments. Now, for the TOs involved in this one, man, I get the alias rule. And you guys in chat, especially Emil, would 100% understand why we have the alias rule in some of these tournaments. You guys remember one of the most famous examples? Ludi Div 4 playoffs, round 1. One of the teams, the favorite to win Div 4, if I remember correctly, didn't have 4 players on their roster ready to go at the time that they agreed to play their playoff set. So what did they do? They grabbed somebody not on their roster, which in Ludi you can't do without getting approved through staff first, had that person use an alias to match the name of somebody that was on the roster and had that player play through. Now, it's obvious if you're using an alias because your splash tags at the bottom of your little banner are missing. But there are a clear example of how you can cheat using the alias. There is not a single TO in this community that loves using the alias feature. The addition of the alias feature is the most hated thing by TOs in this community. It adds nothing to the competitive scene. It only forces us to create a bunch of stupid other rules. And to be honest, the splash tags are annoying as well. If we could just go back, why do you have to be married to your IGN for 3 months? Just let people change names as they want. Who cares? It's so frustrating. But that's happened because of the alias feature. A team tried to cheat. And what happened in that specific situation? People were not mad at the team that blatantly cheated, used the alias feature with the intent of cheated. There were people that were upset because the other team called them out on it. No, that is not an unwritten rule at all. That is 100% something that affects the final outcome of a game. You're using an illegal player. That's not an unwritten rule. That is a blatant cheating situation going on right there. But people were still upset at the other team for snitching. Some of you have a hard time drawing that line, and your line goes all over the place with what you're going to be upset about with situations similar to this. But that is further context as to why you see the alias rules in a lot of these tournaments. I have no problem with tournaments that have alias rules. My complaint, and I brought this up with the SOS TOs, is the punishment that goes with this rule. The rule is designed to weed out people that are cheating, right? Because if you're using the alias to intent to cheat, then you should be punished for that 100%. However, not everyone's using the alias to cheat. Sometimes they're using it just because I think Jackpot uses it to put the 777 in their name. Like there's some times where some people are clearly cheating and sometimes where people are just trying to make some silly names here. So the automatic, well, because this team smurfed into SOS a month ago, here's this blanket statement we have to do to punish everybody. I don't like that. An obvious fix to this, just give out a warning. That's it. The rule shouldn't automatically be, you do it, you're banned. It should be, you get a warning. If this situation, if somebody just DM'd Nitro and just said, hey, we see you're using an alias, can you not? If you do it next set, we're going to kick you. Otherwise, you're going to be fine. Situation solved. Situation solved right there. If they are cheating, you know what they're going to do? They're either going to, somebody's internet just died. We're going to have to drop. Sorry, we can't just keep going. Or they're going to do it again in the next game, get caught, and then you kick them out and probably launch a splat safety complaint against them. If they're not cheating, you know what they're going to do? They're going to be cool about it. They're going to be like, all right, fine. You know, they might give you a snarky remark, but they'll go back to using whatever the non-alias is. Easy fix for all of that thing. Now, the rules for the SOS tournament clearly states that if you do it, period, you're banned. So I don't blame the actual TO who reached out and DM'd and said, hey, the rule says this, you got to go. That's not an issue with that person. That person's just following, enforcing the rules of the tournament, which you have to do as a TO. My issue is more so with the person who wrote the rule, and it's not something you think about until situations like this arrive, and now it's an easy fix. Going forward, in my opinion, just put a warning. Fixes everything here. Now, what I just did, this whole segment right here, this is called giving fair criticism. This is called looking at the situation subjectively, looking at all the different things involved, and providing feedback. At no point did I call anybody a name. Did I insult anybody's skill level? Did I make any kind of random racist remark? No, I didn't do any of that stuff, did I? I just looked at it, and I looked at all three parties. I gave my thoughts about it, and I provided some context into what I think the situation was about for all those involved, and gave some fair criticism for that. A lot of folks on Twitter, and this is exactly what Twitter's designed for, didn't take that approach. Instead, you saw the maturity levels of several people be put on display over the past couple of days with their reactions to everything that took place in this last one. And this is why I was so pissed off on Wednesday. Because it's not a fair representation of what our community is about. Nitro's initial tweet. Now, if you feel like you got done dirty in a tournament, putting it up on Twitter, I have no issue about that. I've been very vocal, especially what happened in the last Low Ink with people complaining about lag rules. I was very vocal about people need to be allowed to provide fair criticism if they're upset about a tournament. TOs should not be put up on a pedestal. So they shouldn't be able to be hiding behind this white knighting shield of TOs are untouchable. That's not true. TOs should be held to a higher standard than everybody else. The initial post was not fair criticism. It was a personal attack that was degrading and dehumanizing and calling into question the skill level and the intent of the people involved in the situation. Jim from Squid School got it right. People weren't attacking the situation. They were attacking the people involved in it. And that is the issue I have with so many of you. So many of you just didn't understand what the conversation was actually about. If you look at people like Spoon and Hope, and Gus was pointing this out as well, they were giving fair criticism. They were looking at the situation and they were talking about it. Hey, here's my thoughts on this. I thought that was great. But so many of you sitting here saying div whatever, calling out the skill level of people, personally attacking people, going after Seekant's send-out bio, adding notes to that. Oh my gosh, what is genuinely, it's so frustrating seeing things like that. Because, and I don't want to use ages in this, because I know several people that are much younger than me that have a high maturity level. I know people my age that have an absolutely garbage maturity level. Age has nothing to do with it. It's all about your mentality, but a lot of people displayed where their current level of maturity is in this community. And my number one, yes, the Nitro tweet, Nitro's not responsible for the blatant other comments that were going on, but 100% started the fire. Not the person who threw the gasoline onto the fire, because those people should be held accountable as well. But yes, 100% started the fire. Needs to be pointed out. And there's so many people in this community. The people that were throwing gasoline onto the fire. So many people in this community do nothing, build nothing, create nothing, participate in nothing, bring nobody new to the scene, add no value to the community, don't even know what their damn Battle5 password is because they don't play in tournaments anymore. These are the people that are throwing gasoline on the fire. Nothing to do with anything. They just find opportunities. They just wait for splat safety to screw up. They wait for somebody to get pissed off. They wait for a TO to make a mistake. And then all of a sudden, their Twitter apps light up and they don't go off of it. They stay on it nonstop. And look, as frustrating as it is, that is reality. Those people are never going to go away. They're going to be doing that stuff until they pass away from this planet. As frustrating as it is, here's what I want you guys to understand. Those people, they don't represent our community. They do not represent competitive Splatoon. If you want to know what competitive Splatoon community looks like, go to Low Tide City. Go to Riptide. Go to the Rising Squid Land in Europe. Go to these other locals that are popping up. Look at Low Ink this upcoming weekend. Watch the people in the Twitch chat to some extent for the Splatterbacks tournament as they're rooting on their teams. Look at the people in grand finals of Sunday that are going to come up with these stupid chants for the teams that are in grand final. Commit a time for twisted time. That's so dumb. But you know what? Those are our dummies in this community. And we love the people who actually do things for this community, love it. And we hate seeing those kinds of hateful speeches and just the out of nowhere racist remarks being thrown in every different direction. And I'm not putting one side. There were people on every kind of perspective that were throwing just ugly, nonsensical things at each other. We're better than that. I'm not going to drop an F-bomb. We're not going to hit that level. Again, this is a live show, but I was frustrated when I saw that stuff. But don't think those people recommend this community. They don't. The people who actually do things, the people that play, the people that support each other, that is what the competitive Splatoon community is actually about. With all that being said, this situation, I shouldn't do a segment on this. A team got DQ'd for breaking a rule. Yes. Should they have been DQ'd for it? No. I don't think they should have. Do we all learn from it? The TOs learn. Everybody now knows not to use an alias in tournament. I hope nobody uses one going forward. And I think some people now recognize, okay, if somebody's breaking a rule that's really not that big of a deal, let's just, who cares? Maybe just let it go. I think everybody learned something from this, whether you were directly involved or not. And that's my thoughts on the situation. I would say be better, but I know how people are. I would say this, whenever there's a fire, don't give attention to the people that are pissing on it. Give attention to the people that are running to try to put it out. And that's my thoughts on that. A lot of highlighted messages. I don't know if I did. If you guys said anything in chat, I hope it wasn't anything I was supposed to delete. It was Opium and Div 5. What did I say? Div 4? Div 5, Div 4. It's all the same. Twitter has poisoned this community. Well, Twitter's poisoned every community. That's why the Twitter doesn't represent who we are. It doesn't represent any kind of community. It's not an actual place. But yeah. Twitter is for what Gus uses Twitter for. I talk about Gus a lot here. I've just discovered their content in the past couple of months. What Gus uses Twitter for, to be goofy, that's what it's for. And sometimes it's being annoying. Okay, but who gets to decide what does and does not affect the game? Does it become subjective at that point? That could be what the TOs want to avoid. If you're using if you're using an alias and the alias is just to add a few letters to your name and it's clear who you actually are, then the alias didn't affect the game. I don't think that's I don't think that's debatable. I was worried the Twitter response about the whole situation was going to set the Splatoon community as a whole. It was insanely wild and absurd. Okay. You guys remember the Splatfest heard round the world situation? Literally the same exact thing happened. People were saying mean, ugly things to Pure Divinity and Arctic Moon. I'm not like justifying this, but I'm saying like this has happened before and it's going to happen again. It's exhausting for sure. It was unintentionally revealing seeing how many people assume the only reason one would use the rulebook is to add to their send out bio. Yeah. Again, Acropora didn't get the win for it. They didn't take anybody's spot. They just moved up one spot to Hammerhead. Like it's not that deep. The suggestion secant was photoshopped. Is that really? That is who made it? Dang, who actually made that then? That's even worse. What is wrong with people? When people were dunking on Acropora, it made it very clear that a lot of people who are above Loink will take opportunities to dunk on people who are worse than them, which is awful than this community and doesn't help grow at all. I don't buy into the skill level warfare that's going, and that's a different topic to go into. I mean, obviously there are people who look down on others for, oh, well, you're this div, so that means that you're not allowed to say this or something like that. And it's like, okay, that's a different topic for another day. I mean, I literally tweeted out last week that the most dangerous teams in this community are the ones who don't actually pay attention to skill level or anything like that. And you look at all the teams we banned from Loic recently, man, some of y'all really need to take these Loic teams seriously. I can't just ban everyone. Hoenn Hero, as a TO, we're happy to take criticism, make changes when we screw up. The same applies to teams and their actions. But if y'all harass people over a situation, it really causes far more harm than good and discourages people from playing at running events. I know some TOs involved in the situation don't want to do anything publicly facing TOs things right now because of what the community members have done. That is 100% it. I mean, look at all the TOs that have left this community over the past several years. It's because of situations like this. Being critical of TOs is fair, but a lot of people aren't being fairly critical. That is 100%. That's been an ongoing issue, and that's why you've seen a lot of people leave the scene. Thank you. Yours and Jim's opinions are some of the most thought out and constructive I've seen, and will definitely help everyone come back to this stronger. Well, the advantage I have is having 2 days to think about it. That's the other. And Twitter is everyone's knee-jerk reactions. Oh, I see one person's take on this. I'm gonna run. That's the fact. That's the whole fact of the stories. Let me just immediately tweet this out. And the Popcast is usually a few days after stupid stuff like this happened. I have an opportunity to let's think about this a little bit deeper. What's actually going on here? What are the actual facts of the case? If this happened, if this happened 2 hours before I went live, this would be a completely different podcast. Where really spiraled things out of control, in my opinion, was the poor handlement after the fact. Not Acropora, the TOs made any statement acknowledging the mistake, as far as I'm aware. Of course, this doesn't excuse the few individuals went absolutely insane and spiraled things out of control as well. That's a fair point to bring up. Sometimes when you make a statement initially as things are going on, it just invites more chaos unless your statement is like 100% perfect. I can't sit here and say if this was my situation, I would make some sort of thing. Like the closest thing I've experienced to this was Loink last month when everybody was upset about the lack of lag rules that we have in the tournament. By the way, if you were upset that we didn't have lag rules last Loink, newsflash, we didn't add them for this one. Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed. So, the TOs didn't listen to our feedback. Yeah, we did. We just disagreed with it. But no, I mean, that's a fair point to bring up, but I've never been in that exact situation where I need to like release a statement. It's not, I'm sure that kind of sucks to do, but that's life. Honestly, one issue with all two, I wish I handled differently as someone who was directly involved and it happened in help desk instead of in Battlefield. Well, I mean, it's a learning situation for everybody. And I didn't like watch it as it unfolding live. I only saw it on Twitter as I was going to bed, and I was like, oh, I need to put this down or else I'm not going to sleep. And I didn't put it down and I didn't sleep. Twitter's literally nothing new. LOL. It's just little goons picking sides. I ran out of water. Oh my God. All right. I can't sit here and talk about this all the time. So this is the last highlighted message I'm going to read. And just for like the YouTube audience, they can't see which messages are highlighted or not. So the Hoenn Heroes message right here is the last one I'm going to acknowledge and talk about. I threw my water because I was finished with it. On the topic of the TOs not making a statement, honestly, if we said literally anything during the firestorm, it would have been torn up because everyone's being really mad. Plus, we really need time to think. Oh, well, I'm not going to finish reading that, but I will acknowledge you can't make a statement immediately when SOS ends because SOS ends around midnight. And I don't want anybody... I'm not the head of IPL, but as somebody who basically has like some stock, I guess, connected to IPL, I don't want anybody making a statement at midnight. I don't want anybody at midnight under emotion of what just happened making statements on behalf of IPL. Like that's never going to work out fine. There's no way you're in the right mental state to actually do that. Oh, man. No, for the rest of you that are normally here on Fridays, I talk about Low Ink. Yeah, I am one of the head TOs for this tournament. Whenever I do a Low Ink preview episode, I usually wear a hoodie with my hood up. I like wearing hoodies. It's this consistent thing. But we got a tournament this weekend. So here's how we transition from me being super pissed off in that last segment to talking about Low Ink. Can we actually do this, though, is the question. Honestly, I don't have much to say about Low Ink because I knew I was going to spend a lot of time talking about this. And there's still a lot of prep work we have to do for this tournament going up. I guess the few things to point out about this tournament. The current number of teams that have signed up it is at 169. Somebody just unregistered. The current number of players playing in this event, we have 891 players that have their splash tags entered correctly, another 38 that haven't, and we honestly have like 30 subs or so signed up. I'll go back and look through all the subs later tonight once registration closes. But we got a ton of people that are signed up to be subs for this event. Now, some of you are going to wake up tomorrow and your teammates are either going to get grounded or they forgot Low Ink was going on or they realize that they don't like you anymore and they're going to quit the team and you need a fourth player. There are 30 players, probably more than that by the time registration actually closes, that are signed up to be subs. If you ping for a sub and nobody responds to you, I promise you subs are available. There might be something going on here that makes you think or makes subs not want to play for you. Again, I pointed out last month, we have banned somebody for an undisclosed amount of time because they abused the sub, harassed them last month. Take care of your subs, guys. Have good reputations. Don't be jerks to people. If you have good karma, subs will flock to you. If you don't, subs aren't going to sign up, or you're just somebody they don't know and they're kind of hesitant to sub for you because they've had bad experiences in the past. So be mindful of that. There's 5 teams in particular that I don't have in my top 10 that I want to keep an eye on this upcoming tournament because I believe every tournament this year, aside from when the Imbeciles won it, has been a team that I didn't mention at all. I had no idea who they were. We underseeded them when it came to verification, which I just listed off. We got about 1,000 people we got to verify. It's hard to accurately seed all of them, but it's always a team out of nowhere that actually is going to win it. And with the trend being that, there's no reason for me to believe something other than that is actually going to happen. There's still 5 teams here I just want to mention that I'm keeping an eye on regardless. Because even if you don't win this tournament, it's a good opportunity for you to make a next step and improve and grow. First off is Arcadia. And whenever I mention that I'm doing a top 10, there's usually somebody from Arcadia that's like, oh, he's going to put us in. Or when I don't put him in, oh, he's undervaluing us. We're going to prove him wrong. Well, I haven't seen it yet, Arcadia. I haven't seen what you're fully capable of. It hasn't matched the level that you've been beating your chest about. I'll be watching you this time. If you want to say you're a top 10 team, this is the month to prove it. We'll be seeing. This team name I cannot pronounce. And it's always the team names that we can't pronounce that do really good. I'm just going to put it in chat. Can I even? Yes, okay. So this is the team. YGG draw sub. And if I just posted, if this is a slur in some other language I'm not aware of, then you got me. And we're disqualifying you from the tournament. But this team essentially is made up of members of Audentes and Bridget. And I didn't write it down, but I forget off the top of my head which team Bridget actually played for in the past, but Bridget being a strong player. So if this is a new team, this is one of those teams that's going to be really good that you have to keep an eye on. It's Nordic. That would make sense because I believe these are EU players. Audentes being a consistent team that's played in Loic, but this is where the players are. This is the team you want to keep an eye on. If you see a team name and you can't pronounce it, that's trouble. Bridget was from Epsilon. That is correct. You're right. Neon Palm Tree. They were asking in help desk if they were still eligible for Loic, as a lot of people typically do. But they did play in Loic last time. The last time they played in Loic, they made beta bracket in round 2. I want to see what they're going to do going forward. They're one of those teams that has always been capable of doing really well in a Loic. And consistently, I believe, making that beta bracket kind of level. They made alpha before. This is a month where I'll be keeping an eye on them a little bit closer because I feel like they're right on that door of popping off. Revelation got 3rd place last time that they played in this tournament. 3rd place in beta bracket, I guess, as to say. I don't know anything about Revelation. Honestly, it seemed like a brand new team. But when you play as a new team and get that kind of result, 3rd place in a beta bracket of 175 teams, that's pretty remarkable. So Revelation, I'm going to keep an eye on just because I don't know them yet, but I feel like they're a team that's going to be talked about a lot on the Popcast going forward. The last team I want to keep an eye on here is Lost Inklings. Yes, the same Lost Inklings that played at Low Tide City has started playing at Loic as of late and has been playing in every single Loic basically this year, or at least started at the few months after this year started. Lost Inklings has always been like that nice, like, okay, cool, it's nice that we have Lost Inklings here. These guys have been playing in competitive Splatoon since the dawn of time. But last month was when they really started to be like, oh, wow, okay, these guys are starting to get things done. They've got 4th place in beta brackets. I don't recall, I mean, they made beta bracket, but I don't recall exactly how they did in the group stage, if they actually beat a team or not. And they did. They beat the Immitus Phantom team, or they dropped or something like that. But still, Lost Inklings, they stopped being that, okay, cool, I like Lost Inklings, into... They transitioned into are you guys legit? Are you guys a contender? This is a month where we get to answer that question. And the last team I want to talk about, because I love their logo, you know I do. How about Tea Time? Tea Time made a beta bracket last time that they played in Loic. I hope these guys do well, because now that Boston Squid Party is no more, Tea Time is my favorite logo in this scene. And if you got a good logo, I like you. Sometimes when you got a gazillion teams in these tournaments, your logo can make the difference on how I feel about you. You're not going to get any bias from me as far as TOing is concerned. But at the analyst, commentator, Popcast, ooh, I'm going to love me some Tea Time. The top 10 teams in this Loic. First off, the teams that are not going to be playing in this link, or as far as I've seen as of now, they have not signed up for it. C Drive has not signed up. They would be probably in my top 3 if they did sign up. And they have an hour and 10 minutes to do if they actually want to play. C Drive is not in the top 10. Also, June. They haven't seen June in a long time. We haven't seen June. I can't believe June is not playing in the month of June. They signed up initially, but as I look today, they've already unsigned up. And let me just double check. They haven't signed up again. So, man, June, a missed opportunity. There's no way June doesn't win at this tournament. There's no way they don't win in the month of June. Missed opportunity for them. Top 10 teams that are going to have the highest chances of winning the tournament this week. Number 10. The Ben Thick Brigade makes their second straight trip here to the official Popcast top 10 list of teams that can win this tournament. Not an impressive run, though, in the last time that they played in May. They got into beta bracket and they lost round 1, getting swept by your favorite team, the Los Inklings. But still, I believe in the Ben Thick Brigade because they've been thick, and we all kind of recognize that. So they stay on the top 10 this time around. Would love to see them make alpha bracket, though. Number 9. I think it's time that we introduce Koi Pond, K-O-I Pond, into the top 10 here at the number 9 slot. This is a team made up of players from Miro and also Arson from the Boston Squid Party, formerly of the Boston Squid Party team, I guess we should say. Koi Pond, I believe a team over the pond, across the pond, going to be playing in this tournament. EU teams, usually it's tougher for them to close out a tournament later because they're dealing with things as they go along. But we've made a lot of rule changes. We can get these tournaments done as quick as possible. So hopefully Koi Pond can be fresh if they make a deep run into alpha bracket. Number 8. The LSL champs have been feasting in Low Ink this year. Hell, some of them have already been banned from Low Ink. The Galaxy Squids is joining the ranks of Little Squid League teams that are climbing the ladder after winning the tourney and now find themselves in the top 10. The reason being, they popped off last month in Low Ink, making alpha bracket and losing to round 1 in a game 5 against Equilibrium. Everything they did leading up to that was excellent as well, beating the Cosmic Cherries, the Ben Thick Brigade, Misfits as well in the top 32 stage after finishing third place in their Swifts group with a 5-1 record. The Galaxy is the ceiling for the Galaxy Squids. Number 7. If there's anything the actual competitive Splatoon community loves, is naming their teams after something space-themed. Starburst, Supernova, about 20 teams named after comets, the Galaxy Squids, Galaxy Riders, Meta Galaxy, every adjective that you can come up with for the words moon and red. You realize at one point we had a team called Blue Moon and Red Sun, and I can't believe those two teams never played off against each other. We love space! Even when the words have nothing to do with an actual real thing. Take Cosmic Cherries as an example. Unless there's some like new candy called a Cosmic Cherry or some new K-pop group that I'm not aware of, it's yet another made up space team name. But what isn't made up is their skill level. This team consistently find themselves in the top 10, and they're back here again after making alpha bracket last month. Number 6. Do I have a number 6 here? Uh-oh, I don't have another 6. We're going to have to rewrite this on the fly. So that would be you. Yes. You. Okay, we're back. Number 6. Sanguine Seas. Sia. Secret Elixir. Prowlers. Long ago, the 4 teams lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when the Smurfs attacked. Only Photic Zone, master of all 4 elements, could stop them. But when the world needed them the most, they vanished. Now, they're back with a bit of a revamped roster, ready to go along and find an opportunity to find their way back into the podium and potentially finally win this tournament once and for all, as is their birthright. Photic Zone's number 6. Number 5. Team Biscuits is back. Hold on, I completely screwed up the delivery. Team Biscuits are back again, and about time too. And this time, they're in the mood. They can fly real high with their inkjets on, with their splashes out. They're one tough team. They'll make you smile when they play their tune, but Alpha beware, cause they're after you. Huh, TB. Team Biscuits. Team B. Team Biscuits are here. Number 4. The Breish Reckoning. Or as I like to call them, the Final Reckoning. Breish, I guess because they added a new player to their roster. I don't know. Whatever. The Final Reckoning. TRF. Is in that kind of awkward situation to where they have to win this tournament, and anything short of it is going to feel like a failure. They've done well enough in this tournament in the past and watched their peers all get banned from low ink to where the only joy they can get out of this is to win it. It's a stressful way to go through low ink, considering how many no-name teams come out of nowhere who have no pressure on them to win. Regardless, the skill level for this team is always going to be there. They are a top 10, top 5 caliber team of every single tournament that they sign up for that is skill capped. It's just a question of can they finally seal the deal and get clutch out those tough moments. Bam, 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 bam. It's the Final Reckoning. Wow, he's really lost it. Is the fact that I'm going to be a dad in about a month starting to slip through here? Number 3. All aboard the train. The Conductor Cap Incorporated. No longer sponsored by Octopi. Please don't put that back into your name. It makes it too long and it kind of breaks Battlefy at some points. The Conductor Cap Incorporated, sponsored by Octopi or not, doesn't matter. They are picking up where Octopi left off, winning Beta Bracket last month and revamping their roster with a few new players. This team is loaded with low ink championship caliber DNA, but I would really like to see them make Alpha first and jump in front of the teams that I got ahead of them before I really put them in that category of, oh, you're ready to win it. But as I rework the order here, they're number 3 team, so obviously they're ready to win it. Choo choo, Conductor Cap Incorporated. And good luck this weekend. Number 2. The team I had in the number 1 slot last month was the Dark Masters. And they played up to that potential. They made Alpha Bracket, ultimately getting eliminated in Losers Round 2 to, spoiler alert, team I'm going to be talking about next. But the Dark Masters, the advantage they have over everybody else in this tournament, they play in a lot of tournaments. They get better. They always are just a few games away from knocking off that opponent that would finally seal the deal and get them banned from low ink. But they just can't clutch it out in those clutch moments. That's why I got them at number 2 instead of back at number 1 like last time. Still, Dark Masters should be considered a favorite to win this tournament. It's got them at number 2. Well, who beat them last month? That'd go to my number 1 team. And the team I'm calling to win this tournament. It's time. The growth, the grit, the grind, all has been leading up to this month. Akarioku, the team that never says no to a tournament. If they see a tournament is available and they can sign up for it, they always sign up for it. And they were one game away, had Secret Elixir dead to rights up 2-0 in the semifinals of Alpha Bracket last year until Secret Elixir showed them actually we're kind of a different animal there. Akarioku now finds themselves as the favorite to win this whole tournament. And bless their heart, that means they are absolutely going to get curb stomped. And it's my bad because I'm cursing them here. But it doesn't matter if Akarioku wins the tournament or not. Nobody here deserves the title of being considered the number one favorite team other than Akarioku. They've earned it. Will they actually win? Probably not. But they deserve that recognition. Absolutely they do. Now, if I didn't mention your team at all, or I put your team too low in my top 10, apparently a lot of you like to use this as a chip on the shoulder kind of thing, because on the Monday's episode of the Popcast, I will start it off, unless Splatamax is super interested, I will start it off by offering an apology for everything that I got wrong. Make me eat my words. Or don't. That's kind of weird. Regardless, if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out on my socials below, Twitter, Mr._Popgun, Discord, Popgun, I guess just Popgun. I got to fix that. YouTube at 25 Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. Let's go with, hold on. Raid. There we go. Good luck this weekend to those participating. Enjoy watching the tournaments, either this one or Splatamax. I will see you guys tomorrow commentating grand finals of Splatamax. Stay off of Twitter if you can't handle it.